I, Tutuan, have been having really bad thoughts and moods lately. I work a dead-end job even though I have multiple certificates and good qualifications, but there are no jobs in the sports industry where I live. You can always move places, not when my mother has mental breakdowns and constantly needs help. My younger sister moved out before I did, and if I leave my mother alone, she would die of despair. So yeah, going to school, acquiring good grades and acquiring tertiary education made zero difference. I have a girlfriend, which I have been together with for 6 years, and I feel more as if we are in a friendship rather than a relationship. She lives in the same town but with her parents. I live with my mother. She's never home alone. When I'm home alone, I tell her. And she used to come running for sex. Now it's always an excuses with tummy pain, tired, headache. This has been going on for months. It took a good hit to my confidence. I am very close to stop initiating completely. We both work full-time jobs but can't do much because the bank won't loan us money and the property market is exorbitantly inflated, and even with both our salaries we won't have enough to pay a loan, rent and have kids. Personal skills. I feel useless. Hey haha. My dream was to become a professional football player. I played football for 15 years, always at the top of my game, but my mother wanted me to start making money immediately when I was 20 because her salary wasn't keeping up. I am sure I could have made a good living if I kept playing, but oh well, that's gone out the window. Last year one found 3 younger guys and we started a business. It was actually going really well. We made loyal renewals, deals with other businesses, money was flowing in nicely. The business was funding itself and we were allowed to both invest and spend a bit from the company's money. It was going quite well, but it was short-lived. One had to leave because of exams and energy died and we ended the project. I tried to maintain it alone, but it was too much. So yeah, a failed business. Better luck next time. Or not. Did not have any success of starting anything and completely gave up this summer. Oh yeah, the accusation behind my back. Buckle up because it's a long story. So, when I was 18 and still playing football, we had a game against another local team and a lot of my old friends from school played with that team. I was excited to meet my old friends again and just talk a bit before the game and wish them luck. When I arrived at the stadium with the rest of the team and sat down, I saw the other team arrive, and when I saw the ones I recognized, I nodded or winked and smiled, but they all had death stares to offer. Weird, but okay. Anyway, before kick-off both sets of players shook hands. One dodged my handshake and the others squeezed my hand or kept giving me that stare. I just thought of it as mind games. Anyway, during the game I was getting hit and tackled harder than I ever had in my life. Everything felt personal. One of my old friends charged my into the advertising boards hard, slowly stopped his run towards me, bent down and called me pissed. I lost my head there and told coach to sub me out as I wasn't feeling well, and all that got me feeling sick. This wasn't football. While I was being subbed off, one of the old friends spat towards my legs. I turned around, pushed him, and all of a sudden a whole brawl between both teams started, me being the prime target while my team was half throwing punches and sliding in and others trying to stop the fight. Anyway, game got abandoned and stewards had to separate both teams until everyone left. Fast forward to days and my coach calls me in his office asking me what all that was about. I explained the whole story and named the players who were hostile at me, and he didn't say a word except take today off. See you tomorrow, and back home I went. The next day, coach calls me back in the office and there was a man and one of the players of the other team with him. Turns out, both coaches worked at the same school during the day, and the player was his son. We shook hands and started talking. Same conversation as the day before, except now there were guests. After I explained everything, the other coach's son, let's call him P, asked me how I knew some of their players, and after that asked, "You don't happen to know a girl named J from your school as well?" I saw it was weird, but I said yeah, of course, we were great friends since we were kids. Then he went on to explain how he heard that I groped her in front of her friends and how I tried to get her drunk and have sex with her, and when I tried to grab her boobs during water games, all when I was 15, and during all that I was just feeling my heart sinking. I denied all of that because all he said was purely made up and never happened. He said the word was spread through the team and my old friends were mentioned. I demanded that we call Jay right now and ask her everything. I have her number and everything to contact. I was ready. Coaches told me to not bother. She does not live in town anymore. Luckily, they all said they believed me and we all went on our way. Now this all was 4 years ago. During the last national teams games, I went to the stadium and behold I see Jay with someone else. Turns out she's not living so far from town and came to see her family for the weekend. I didn't want to talk to her because I just felt unsure, but Jay instantly recognized me and came to hug me and ask how I've been and all that talk. We kept talking throughout the game and asked if I was still playing and told her no. She told me her family moved to the next town over with her grandparents after we finished secondary school. We kept talking and I was starting to feel less tense and more comfortable talking to Jay. I had to bring up the whole ordeal I had with the old friends. I asked her if she still talks to them and said no, it's like most of our school friends disappeared. I told Jay everything that happened during that game and what I was told in the office for years back, and it was like she was confused between laughing, getting angry and crying. She said that all the things I was accused of obviously never happened and never has she heard of any of this word going around. She almost started crying, but I managed to comfort her a bit, grabbed a snack and calmed down. She was going to start messaging her old friends, but I told her to leave the story buried. 2 weeks later, this week on Tuesday, I get a call from Jay and she was crying, told me that she had to find out where and why all this started. I told her to not bring the story up to anyone and leave it dead, but she is insisting of at least trying. I told her it's up to her then. She called me on Friday saying she's coming to town for the weekend and we had to talk. Yesterday, we meet up for dinner with my girlfriend with me. I told her the story after that game, but refreshed her a bit for memory. Jay told me she investigated a bit and found out that these stories were going around after we finished secondary high school. She told me some people had even claimed to know witnesses of all that I did, but no one that she talked to claimed to have seen anything, only heard. She showed me some chats she had and clearly quite some effort went into her trying to find out anything. There were people who I haven't talked to in over a decade saying that they heard of something. Why didn't anyone ever ask Jay if she was okay? Who knows? A lot more happened and was said yesterday, but ultimately when I got home I just laid and broke down. I felt shattered. Now I understand the energy I get from people. Now I understand why when I see an old friend they don't talk to me. Now I understand why I've never been invited to school reunions. Now I understand why I was never invited to pick up games. Now I understand why acquaintances from my teenage years don't even say hello now. I understand why I got unfriended by many people who I considered as friends throughout the years. My girlfriend told me she did notice a change from when we were younger. Wherever we went I always was shaking hands with many people that I knew and introduced her to so many old friends in the beginning of our relationship. And she told me that she noticed that it just doesn't happen anymore. She didn't think much of it. But now she's as shocked as me with all this. If all this business with Jay and the others didn't happen, I would have just said that everyone's took their own road and work and whatnot, which could also be true, but now with all this I just feel like the world had turned against me with me even knowing. And I just feel totally broken and confused as to why this all happened. While Jay tried her best to see who could have came up with all of this, she had sent a lot of messages that were not responded nor even opened. She showed me everything, and also some of whom she called avoided talking or did not answer at all. We arrived nowhere except now I understand why I am treated like this in my hometown. So I am stuck here because I can't leave my mother alone while many around me hate me for things I didn't even do. I just wish I could at least know why this all started or even who could have came up with such accusations and know what move can I take. I am a broken man. I can be buried in advance because I am completely dead.